We're located in Sharqiyah, in the foothills of the eastern Hajj mountains. I've now lived in Oman most of my adult life. We never set out to establish a farm. I mean, we call ourselves the accidental farmers. We kind of stumbled into it. The opportunity came up, which is quite rare, to buy a plot in Sharqiyah region of Oman. We decided to buy this plot. It was not an established farm. It was a completely virgin plot of land. Yes. Well, as I said, originally we were not going to farm at all, but a couple of factors changed that. One is that on an exposed site like this, you can't really just have a few trees. You have to build an environment which is a livable habitat. So we realized we would have to plant a lot of trees. We had to educate ourselves a lot on trees and then crops. The reason we started growing annual crops, food, is because we observed in the farms round about here that the farming was with heavy use of pesticides. And then we gradually became aware that those mists we could see at sunset as the workers were moving through the fields were pesticides. And when we inquired, what are you putting on? What chemicals are these? We were told these are not chemicals, it's medicine. So we realized even there was a lack of knowledge. There was no science behind how these chemicals were being applied. And it made us very aware and concerned as to the quality of the food that not only we and our family and friends were eating. The essence of regenerative farming is not just maintaining the status quo. We need to move beyond sustainable now and actually rebuild soil. So it's a process of building soil by using compost, cover crops, using plants themselves as biomass for cutting and covering the soil. Organic market farming, as it's been practiced in the US, the UK, Canada. And we decided to grow annual crops as well. Regenerative farming is a system of farming practices which aim to do a number of things. One is to build organic soil matter. Soils around the world are being eroded now faster than they're being regenerated, hence regeneration. When you have healthy soils, you increase the water holding capacity of the soil. So you maximize any rainfall, which here is very little. So it's a kind of holistic approach to farming, which has many benefits. You also use only inputs which you produce on the farm. So for example, for fertilizer, animal manure. And obviously no pesticides, no fertilizers, synthetic fertilizers. So organic farming, which organic farming really is focused on the production of food in terms of annual crops. So there's no disturbance of the soil, but it's being fed nutrients all the time. Aloe vera is one, which is superbly also adapted to the climate here, very drought resistant. Lemongrass is another. What I personally enjoy most of all is digging. I find it very therapeutic to take a shovel and dig up weeds and basically soil preparation. It's that kind of anticipation of what you're going to grow, how's it going to turn out. So I'm very focused on the preparation, and that's where it all starts, with the soil. Everything begins and ends with soil. So that's what I find most enjoyable. But otherwise, everything. Well, when you're farming, you're in nature. and by definition, nature is life. It's full of life, and I think we lose track of the fact that we are, by our nature, we are part of nature. Human beings are animals at the end of the day. By divorcing ourselves, disconnecting ourselves from nature, there are many, multiple negative effects of that. Once you start getting out into nature, I think naturally it has an effect on the nervous system. You're walking around all day in a much more oxygenated, energized environment, full of life. You can hear the birds now. We have our animals here, which has really changed the energy of the place, I have to say as well. So gradually I would say it's had a calming effect, and it makes you realize that nature is where life happens. It's sheer abundance, and nature is diversity, and nature is super smart. When you start really to look at the mechanisms of plants which grow here, and we've been amazed that everything does grow if you provide it with just a little bit of extra encouragement. I always encourage people now to just get out and observe, and reconnect with the power of nature. We need nature. Nature, on the other hand, is quite neutral. It doesn't need us. But by incarcerating ourselves behind four walls, an office to car to office, home, we're really cutting ourselves off from life. For the new generation is get away from your screens. I mean, we're all guilty, but get out into nature, get outdoors, go climb a mountain. And we're lucky in Oman. We have, wherever you live, you are never more than a kilometre away from a beach. Even travelling a little bit into the interior, you can walk through somebody's date grove and just feel how you're breathing, fresh air, oxygen, and how different you feel at the end of the day. It's quite transformative. And also a platform like your own, they're now discovering that health outcomes can be improved by community action. For Omanis, I think there's a great task there to consult their elders, to learn about not just agricultural techniques, because Oman's oasis agriculture is a perfect example of man's adaptation to the environment. But to find out what are these weeds in the wadi, what is their medicinal value, what are they used for? There's a whole world of knowledge about the plants and wild and cultivated of Oman that is going to be lost.